Okay. So a margin call occurs when the percentage of the equity in the account drops below a maintenance margin requirement. How much is the margin call? If the margin call is 30%, let's say of 12,000, so 30% of that will be 3,600. Okay. So amount of equity you are required to maintain will be, in this case, 3,600 minus, let's see. Oh, this is an example. You'll have margin call at 200. Okay. So let me just draw my example here, which might be easier to follow. All right. So let's assume that actually you have $1,000 in your account. Okay. And most of the system have a stipulation that if you lose 30%, okay, of the account, if you lose, let's say, it can be 30% of the capital, okay, not 30% of the account, but 30% of the capital. So if your capital is 1,000, then 30% of that is 70. Oh, sorry, it's 700. Well, is that correct? No, 30% of 1,000 is 300. Oops, sorry. $300. So the system will automatically set itself, okay, so that if you are to have a drawdown, okay, well, by drawdown, it means that maybe your account suddenly spikes and goes down, okay, you can have a system set up where uh, at 30%, the account, the system can kick you out of any trades. Now, that in itself is not bad. Basically, that's protecting your capital. So if you start trading and you suddenly lose 300, okay, then the system will actually kick you out. It'll kick you out because now you have a balance of 700. And you set a system to actually kick you out at 30%. However, in other systems that are a little more advanced, okay, it can say that if it goes beyond, if your losses go beyond 30%, okay, so that if, let's say, it's 700, but now your losses continue, then you ask the system to actually issue what we call a margin call. So in this case, you are saying the system, you've configured the system, which has been configured, so it sends you a notification, okay, to let you know that you need to deposit some more money beyond or above the balance of 700 to continue trading. Now, that's a very, very high margin call at 700. Most of the systems we use probably will not give you a margin call at least until you've used almost $800 or $900 out of the 1,000. Okay, at that point you will get a notification, okay, to let you know that you need to deposit more money into your trading account or close losing positions in order to free up more margins. Now, by more margins means sometimes you have $1,000 account, and as you start trading, your losses start compounding. So your market, your trades are still running, okay? But you find that now your losses, you are minus 700. Okay, minus 300, you're still fine, okay? often you'll have got notification. Minus 400. See, by the time you're getting to minus 400, already you don't have any more liquidity to trade because you are telling the system to commit minus 400 from this. If you commit minus 400, you only have about 600 to go. Okay? So your negatives are increasing very fast. They're still valid, that the trades are still running, but your balance is also going down. So you find that maybe here you probably cannot take any more trades, especially if they require certain minimum level. This is where sometimes like guys don't leave trades overnight. Because these ones you're leaving here, you don't know what will happen. Over the night, something could happen and that minus 400 can suddenly become minus 800 or even minus 1000. If it goes to minus 800, it will send you an email telling you, hey, you have exceeded your certain margin call. Maybe it was the margin call was maybe 200. Okay, so anything below 200, that's it. The system will just tell you can't trade because you don't have any more margin, right? So I'm giving you more of a watered down explanation of what a margin call is. It means the system has inbuilt uh, I call them tools to allow you to know when you're going below a certain level. Now, for each broker, it is different. It is different. But the whole idea of a margin call is to allow you to have enough notice, enough warning of how much you still have. So if your balance is 1,000, okay, you might find that the number of trades, let's say number, okay, the trades you can take are, let's say, 20. Okay. When your balance goes down to, let's say, 700 or even 500, suddenly you find you can only take 10 trades. So let's pretend we are here, okay? And you're trading, and you've taken your 10 trades, again, all of them, you've taken all your 10 trades. When you take all your 10 trades, then it is said you have no more margin. You have no margin to continue trading. Why? Because whereas your system allowed you 10 trades, you've already utilized the 10 trades. Now, if these trades are now showing minus 200, you clearly cannot do anything because one, you have no more margin to trade. Your trades are going against you with a big negative. Okay, that is where at some point the system will send you a margin call saying you have reached minus 200 and now you have zero margin. Please close some of your losing trades. So these losing trades are tying up your capital of 500. So I don't know if I'm explaining that well, but the idea of a margin call is a number that has been placed by the system by which the system will alert you, okay, so that you can add more money or you can remove some losing trades. So like in this case, even though you are minus 200, if you go and kill some trades, okay, maybe 4 trades or even 5, and each of them might end up giving you 20, let's say 20 pips or $20 for that matter. Okay, if they're 20 and they're 5, so suddenly you'll have reduced this by half, which is minus 100. So you have a margin of 100 to trade with because you have released it from this loss here. Of course, your balance will go down. Balance might go down by maybe 400. Why? Because you've already killed some trades. So again, this is kind of hard to explain until you see how it actually works in the real market. When you start trading, you probably have the equivalent of the trader's margin. It is 1,000. Okay, so you have balance of 1,000. Sorry. Okay, and then the margin you have maybe is the same amount. Okay, 1,000. Now, as long as you are trading, you haven't lost, you haven't closed your trades. The only thing that reduces is the margin. So you have maybe 10 trades out there and they are all not doing good. Okay, they're all at minus 10 each. So you have minus 100. If you have minus 100 there, your margin reduces to 900. Which means, yes, your balance is 1,000, but your margin is down to 900. As your trades continue losing, remember your balance is still showing 1,000. That's okay. But the trades are still on, they're still running. So you find that slowly you go down to minus 500, which means if you were to kill your trades at that point in time, this minus 500 will have to be deducted from your capital of 1,000. Bottom line, or the lesson to learn here is as your margins go down, you are actually reducing your capital, especially if you close them at negative. And that's why some people say, oh, I don't want to close my trades because then I'm not losing. It's a fact. You will lose because if you have minus 500 currently on your trades that are running and your original capital is 1,000, as soon as you close those trades, it automatically reduces from your capital. Now, the double tragedy is if you had a margin of 1,000 and your current trades are showing minus 500, you only have a margin of 500 remaining. And what does that mean? It means that if each of your trades, if you're doing the big lots, and this is why I keep telling you not to do the big lots. If you're doing 1.0, and each time you take a 1.0 lot, okay, your system commits 100, which means you can only now take 5 trades. However, if you're doing 0.1, okay, so you might end up being able to take 50 trades because it's 10 times less. So instead of 5, multiply by 10, you'll be able to take 50 trades with your balance of 500. Okay. If you take even smaller, maybe 0.01, for the same margin of 500, you might end up being able to take even 20 or 30 or 40 trades because now it's smaller. They're smaller. But once your lot size comes in, then you have fewer trades. Okay. Now, once these trades turn around and they become positive, then your margin increases and finally it equals your capital. So, summary. The summary of margin and your capital is such that whenever you have a capital, your margin almost all the time equals your capital. Okay, so if this is your capital, capital X. Okay, if your capital is X, then your margin, okay, equals, okay, X minus, okay, the sum total of the trades, okay, the trades you're taking. the value, which means that if you don't take any trades, if this is 0, then you have the same capital, you have the same margin as the capital, but your margin decreases rapidly as the number of trades increase, and especially if they are losing trades. If they're winning trades, then whatever you make there in terms of pips or dollars, then it becomes a plus. So your margin increases based on what is there. So I know these are crazy, unnecessary mathematics, okay? But in simple layman language, all we are saying is you cannot trade what you don't have. You can only trade what you have. If you trade everything, if you, I'm looking for a simple language, you can only sell what, okay, if you have chickens at home, all right, you can only sell the chickens that you have produced. You can't sell everything, including the mother chicken, all right? And if you have no more chickens, then you have nothing to sell. All right, I think I'll stop at that to allow you to ask questions. I know sometimes people have different understandings, and I'm trying to avoid to get into complicated mathematics, but I'm also trying to make it easy enough for you to understand the concept, the idea. Okay, so we've talked about stop loss, take profit, what a margin is, okay, and the margin call. A margin call is system generated, or in a live account, you can stipulate. You can say, please let me know every time I lose this amount or whatever. In one of my trading accounts, I have a system, not a system, well, it's a system generated that if I lose more than 5% of my capital on that session of trading, I want the system to bar me from trading for the rest of the day, for the next 24 hours. Okay, so the system, the user can define what you want. However, most traders have their own, in general, like if you lose, notify me when I'm at 50% down, or notify me when I'm losing 10%, send me an email, send me a alert when I'm losing 80% of my trades, of my margin, and so on. So if you look at the properties of any platform you have, they have all those things. They specify. Do you want a call when you are at 50%? Do you want a call when you're at 30%? etc. But let me stop and allow you to ask questions. All right, questions.
Hello?
Yeah, hello. Say your name and
Yes. Yes, this is Mohammed.
Mohammed. Yes, Mohammed.
Yes. So there are some strategies that I had tried to counter losing positions, and I don't know if someone else has tried or if it's advisable. For example, let's say you take a bad trade and you find yourself that it is losing. It is heading towards the stop loss. Maybe let's say your stop loss is $4, but it is playing somewhere around 1.5, $2, and something like that. And you've done some other trades where you have taken $0.2, small amounts, and that one stop loss can wipe out maybe 10 trades, 10 positive trades.
Yes.
So one of the things that I have tried to counter this is to initiate at another trade in the reverse direction. For example, if this was a buy, then I initiate another one, which is a sell. So my assumption is that if this is at 2, then if it reaches 4 and it does a stop loss, then I assume the other one would have gained the other one would have gained 2, so that I only lose 2. Then by the time now it reaches the stop loss, now I kill this other one. I take whatever it would have done, and then for that specific trade, I do an edit of it and increase the take profit. So now, one of the other things that I have tried to do to increase this was now increase the lot. For example, the lot is 0.01. So as to make it, move quicker, I double the lot or even quadruple the lot. So theoretically, it is something that should work, but I think sometimes in practice it has backfired on me, because I was working. My assumption was that as by the time this reaches 4 and the stop loss triggers, then this other one, if I had doubled the lot, then it means the $2 which would have gone negative in the other direction, it would have gone $4 here, so that my net position from that loss becomes 0. And I so these are some of the things that I tried to implement, although I have not done it effectively. Is that a strategy that people normally use? Does it work?
Okay. All right. It's a good thing you said in theory. In theory, sometimes we think of things,
yes,
and the mind plays tricks on us, and we actually think if we do this, then this should happen, and this should happen. So in theory, those things should work. But remember, the guys who have made these programs are also aware of those things. So they have put some measures in the systems that are a bit prohibitive to something like that. One, before we even look at wins and losses, okay, there's something, when you have 100 trades, okay, if you have 100, let's say $100, $100, or okay, $100.
Yes.
No, let's just take 1,000, and maybe that allows you officially 20 trades. All right. The very moment you start taking trades, whether they are wins or losses, it doesn't matter. Drastically, your margin goes down. Your margins go down. So if you have 10 trades, okay, totaling whether it's minus 400, okay, you suddenly have a margin of 600. Now, of the 600, it means whereas before you could take 20 trades, okay, now you've reduced them to about 10. You can only take like 10 trades more. All right, that's number one. Number two, you'll find for many of the platforms, almost all of them, if you take a trade and you are able to win, let's say you take one pip, unfortunately, might only give you maybe $10. But the same pip, when you lose it, okay?
Yes.
If you lose it, you lose $30. Now, this has been done deliberately to favor the brokers, not necessarily you. So because of that, that's why we always say, by all means possible, protect your capital. If you're going to enter into a trade and you know you're going to win it, yes, you might comfortably make the 10. But just know that chances are, the same one pip, if you are to lose that particular trade, your loss might be a bit more expensive. Okay? That's why you find when you're doing small trades, especially scalping.
Yes.
See, for scalping, we're only going for 2 pips. 2 pips. But for 2 pips, they tell you that for every 1 pip, if you win or it's a winning trade, then you make $1, or $1.01. But if you lose, if you lose the 1 pip, it's not $1. It's actually maybe 1.5. So you get the idea. In other words, you're being penalized when you are losing more than when you're winning. And that's why sometimes people prefer to have maybe a bigger win, like take profit. So instead of taking profit 2, because you also get charged, there's commission, there's all those things, all those small little things. Sometimes it's more logical to take like a 3 pip size, because 3 pip size will be 3 times 3 point whatever, and and whereas if you had to lose 1, it covers for something like that. Okay, so there are all these intricate things, so much so that what you are saying in theory should work. In theory, it should work, but because of these nitty-gritty things that are going on, it makes it very hard for that to work. So, what are we saying? What we're saying in general, watch your entries, okay? Watch your entries, kill your losses early if you must lose, kill them early, and free up your margins. Like in the case of what you're saying, basically you've taken some trades going down, and then now you are taking some trades going up, okay? And even though it's only 3 trades, so it's 3 going down, 3 going up, you have committed 6 trades. In terms of margins, they don't care if it's a buy or sell. Those are 6 trades. So the margin is already in the ups of 600 or something like that. Again, I'm using the 1,000 as an example. All right. So that in itself is then counterproductive because it is not a strategy. You get it? You end up losing. Each time you try that, you will lose, and your losses will multiply by the numbers. So what am I saying? Yes, don't take buys to counter sells, and don't take sells to counter buys. The better option is to go back and think your entries so you don't get yourself in such a situation. That's how.
Yes.
Okay. Any other questions? Any other questions? So I take
Coach.
Yes.
Vincent here.
Yes, Vincent.
Over the last couple of days, I've had some trades which have remained open for a number of days.
Mm-hmm.
And what happened is I entered the trades and they were going in the wrong direction.
Mm.
So I then reasoned, okay, if they hit my stop loss, of course the loss is going to be bigger than the take profits.
Right.
Then I say to myself, okay, I'm going to move the stop loss to a level that it last reached 3 years ago. But after analyzing the history and looking at the charts and the direction, and I saw that in the instances, the trade will take longer to come back to the take profit position, but it will take a very long time for it to go and hit the stop loss.
Yes.
So I have a trade which then stayed for 3 days, and this morning it came and triggered and it took the profit. I have 2 other trades which went to a fairly big stop loss position, but they are still open. I checked about an hour ago. They now seem to be approaching the take profit position. So in the sense that I was saying, what is the probability of the market going to a stop loss that, let me use a theoretical figure, a stop loss of 10,000? But I looked at the trends and the resistances and the supports, and I see that the market is more likely to turn and come and take profit on those trades, albeit it may take another 2 or 3 days, just based on measurements of past history.
Right.
Is that something that one could look at, or I'm just chancing?
Yes, you're right. I think you already got your answer there. Yes, you're chancing. Again, in itself, it is not a strategy. Because if we do back testing, sometimes if we just take time over the weekend, or even let's pretend even just today, let me just show you an interesting example. Some of the currencies we know over the last, let's see, I'm going to share just one, maybe GBP, USD, and then I can show you, it means for some of those currencies, it has taken them years to even get where they are right now. So for you to say that, okay, and let it just go, and it will come back. Okay, it might never come back. Let me not say never. It might just not come back in that time you want it to come back. Is it guaranteed it'll come back? And no. Will it ever come back? We don't know. Possibly, possibly not. Okay, so let me just share with you current chart. Okay, so this is GBP USD, and this is monthly. All right. So let's pretend that that here the market is going down. All right. Market is going down. Or let's say no. Let's say in 20. In fact, this is perfect example.
Coach, is not showing on the
right hand side.
The chart. No, now on the left hand side.
It's not showing on the left hand side?
It's better now. It's okay.
Better. Okay. All right. Let's look at this point here. This is 2014. Okay. July 2014. Assuming you took a trade here and you didn't know. Okay. So I'm going to move it forward like that. Okay. Right there. Okay. I'm going to change the color, make it yellow. Then I'm going to make it thick. So you didn't know, and what you did, you took a trade in 2014. Can you see the yellow? Can you see the yellow?
See it, yeah.
Okay. So let's pretend you took a sell trade there. Okay. And based on what you show here, actually, the market just came from up this way. And one can argue that the market is trending up, which means that maybe it might still come back and revisit this last highs. The last highs would be, let's say, like that last high over there, that last high over there. The last high over there was 2.0. Okay. So, but you're very optimistic. You're saying, well, instead of going down here, take the low, you're going to take a buy. And you want to take your profit when it comes back there. That's 1.9. But the last time the market was at 1.945. Okay, right now we are in this we are in 2014 July. But the last time the market was at this 1.945 was actually 2008, July 2008. That's the last time it was that high. So you were taking a trade here, 2014, which is almost 6 years later. thinking that, well, it was there, it should actually come back up here. Why not? So, but then let's see what happened. As time goes by, it goes against you. You're on a buy, and the market is going against you. Now you're telling yourself, no, but it's only been 1 week, 2 weeks, because the last time it was there, it was how many years back? Like 6 years back. Maybe it should come back sometime. But you keep waiting, nothing, 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 nothing. Now this is almost, I don't know how many years later. It has not even visited anywhere close to that. Now we're in 2020, and that was 2014. Now we're in that's 6 years later. It has not gone high, anywhere near even this, you know. So I hope you get my drift. You get the idea. So the fact that the market is here and you think it might actually go back up, especially if it was way back behind, chances are it may never come back. Well, never is not a good word. It might not come back anytime soon. Okay? So in itself, it is not a strategy. The wise thing to do is to take the loss while you can, early enough. Like if you look at this GBP USD, for as far as the record is concerned, since 1989, the last high it had was actually 207. That was the last high. And since then, it has been going down, 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 down. So if you took a buy somewhere here, okay, chances of you, the market ever coming back to that, hit that profit is very, very low. Unless something happens tomorrow and Trump does a tweet or something, then it shoots up. But the point I'm trying to bring across is even if you backtest the idea, you'll find that that strategy, well, it's not a strategy, that idea is not solid. Yeah. So you're better off, again, and the idea is still the same. Whether you leave it for 1 night or 2 nights or 3 nights, the point is you are never guaranteed that the market will go back and revisit that point unless there's compelling evidence that actually it will go back and visit. So I hope I've been able to answer that question. No.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay,
So it's
that's
better.
fine. Yeah.
Plus, again, even if it comes back and takes profit, how much profit did it take? This one that came back.
I think it was about 70 pips.
70 pips. Now, you know, 70
Yeah.
pips you can do with 10 trades of 7 pips each in a very short time. So the question is, is it worth waiting all those days? Because as long as it's there, it is tying up your margin. You can't take other trades. Why? Because that particular trade is tying up your margin. Now, for scalping, every margin counts. So if a trade is not going, on your side, you cut your losses, it releases the margins for you, and you can trade to make up for that loss. I mean, for me, when I'm trading, this can be kind of scary. Sometimes I start trading and I decide to multitask, do other things, and I don't look at my trades. And I realize they're like minus 400 pips, 500 pips, and counting. So I suddenly stop doing what I'm doing. And if the market has gone too far, I actually kill the trades and work my way out, dig my way out. Now, I don't advise to do this because that's why I keep telling you for now, you better watch your trades. Okay? You better watch them. Later on, after experience or whatever, you know yourself. You know if you can dig yourself out of a hole or not. If the trade starts going against you, okay, there are many things you can do. Like what Mohammed was saying, which is a bit risky because that's like revenge trading. But it's a fact. It's revenge trading. You're saying, man, this thing has gone. So now what I will do, I'll change my lot size. It will not be 0.01. I'll do 0.05. 5 times. And then I just take, well, you'll actually burn your fingers doing that. I know you're laughing because it's happened to you, right? Trust me, it's happened to me.
Yes.
When you're learning to trade, nobody tells you these things. So you go there and you burn your fingers. You get so mad, you're like, no, you wait. Now this time I will not do 0.01. I will actually do 0.1. That's 10 times. When you take the trade, it goes against you just a little bit. Whoop, and you're out. If you have
Actually, what happened to me recently,
yeah.
after I increased the lot size, then I left it running. So you see, also when you increase the lot size, I have it's like the stop loss also increases. So if the stop loss was $4, and when your lot size was 0.1, if you double, it's like it goes to $8.
Yes, yes.
I don't know if that was the case or I increased. So then I just realized that although I was trying to avoid a stop loss of $3.5, I ended up getting a stop loss of like $18.
Wow. Now, many of the systems have automatic setups where as you move your stop loss, it also, sorry, as you move the trade, it also moves the stop loss, in a similar manner. Yeah. So it's a setup.
And sometimes what I do is, one of the things I also experimented is just to remove the stop loss completely and try to like manage it manually so that I monitor, and then I try to kill manually as it reaches. But sometimes, as you said, you can leave it and then you find it has fired.
Yes, that is risky. That is like you're 40,000 feet above, in the air in a jet fighter, and you're trying one of those stunts. What if I shut off the engine, on the left, or shut off the engine on the right, and let's see what will happen. Okay, that's risky. The losses will be very big. So I know what happens when you're trading. At some point, you get desperate and you try all those little gimmicks, but they'll come back and bite you. So, best advice: learn the good habits early enough, so that as you continue being a trader, you have nothing but good habits. Okay? So do as I say, not as I do. I think for those of you who may have known me a year or so ago, or two, okay, I used to take very crazy trades. And I would say, I would still advise people, okay, but for me, I would then do it risky. I would say, I have experience now. No. But yeah, I burnt my fingers several times. So please, 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 we have less than 5 minutes to go. Learn the best practice. Learn these things I'm telling you. Let them be your foundation. Otherwise, if you want to do stunts, you're going to wipe out your accounts. And I'm glad so far nobody has wiped out their accounts, at least as yet. But if you keep it up like that, you will not need to. All right? Okay.
Yes.
Any question? Although we have 4 minutes. All right. I don't see people answering to that. Now, I just want to make an announcement before we call it a night. Okay. You've seen I have advertised the class starting on Thursday. All right. So I will highly encourage you, again, if you are just starting and you are still new, this might be a good opportunity to learn afresh from the beginning up to where we are, but more importantly, more or less fast tracked. So for you, it will be more like a revision, but learning in some of the, filling in the gaps that you may have missed in a safe, controlled environment. Okay. So if you want to fast track your trading, this might be an opportunity to jump in and learn. Of course, because of the effort required, it certainly will not be free. And whereas this has been free all this time, you also know that we are running a group called the Signals, where I've encouraged most of